You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button.
We also, earlier today, heard from Brian Kelly, who met with reporters. This is signing day, right? This is traditional signing day. However, there were no more signees. Everyone seems to sign in December now, as we know. But Brian Kelly did meet with reporters today, and he went through a lot of stuff. Last hour, we did talk a little bit about the portal, the coaching staff additions, things like that. One of the things that I did want to address, because a lot of you have asked me to, and we didn't talk about it on Monday, because very candidly, Monday felt like an avalanche here first day, and we didn't get around to it. But on Monday, on Good Morning America, former LSU defensive back Greg Brooks and his father, Greg Brooks Sr., both did an interview with Michael Strahan, and it was very moving. I'm guessing by now you've seen it. If you haven't, it is jarring to see Greg Brooks. He's struggling to speak. He obviously has lost a tremendous amount of weight and musculature. And we know that Greg Brooks has filed a lawsuit against LSU and a lot of individuals surrounding his care. None of that was new with the Good Morning America piece. What was new was it was the first time I think we all have seen and heard from Greg Brooks, and it's very jarring to see. Before I say anything more, my biggest takeaway from this, my number one point of view is LSU in total needs to do right by Greg Brooks. This isn't legality, this isn't liability, this isn't negligence, this is just humanness. That young man had a brain tumor, had surgery, there were complications, and his quality of life is changed forever. LSU has the resources to do right by him, to make sure that that young man gets everything he needs for the rest of his life. Whatever therapy he needs, whatever doctors he needs, whatever support he and his family needs, do the right thing. You don't need a court to tell you that, okay? We all agree with that, period. Now, the other part of that is the accusations of negligence and liability and things like that. And I don't have the answers to that. What I firmly believe is there are two sides to every story, and I am willing to wait to hear what LSU's side of the story is. I certainly have had a lot of conversations off the record and things that I'm not going to share on air. Things that are part of the other side of the conversation that will be told, I hope not in court, because I hope that this doesn't have to go to court. But when the full picture has been painted and you hear both sides of the story, then we can make whatever judgments about that. But that day will come, and that day isn't today. There's a third part of this, and that was an accusation made by Greg Brooks Sr. about Brian Kelly's lack of involvement in Greg's recovery. This was the clip of Greg Brooks Sr. on Good Morning America, and then I'll play this, and then Brian Kelly did respond to it today, but here was Greg Brooks Sr. on Good Morning America.
You say you haven't heard from anybody from the LSU coaching staff since October of 2023.
Specifically, Brian Kelly. My son almost lost his life, Coach. Where were you? Forget about football. Pick up the phone and say you love the kid, man.
That is a very harsh accusation to say that you haven't heard from anybody since October of 2023, and names Brian Kelly there. Again, I am not saying that is – I have no idea. If true, that's horrendous. Brian Kelly, when meeting with reporters on Wednesday, did about a minute-long response about those comments specifically from Greg Brooks Sr.?
I would be remiss if I did not address Greg Brooks Jr. and the situation that unfolded in a interview that was done on Good Morning America. There's many things I can't say because it is pending litigation, obviously, but here's what I can tell you. It is factually incorrect to state that I was not there by Greg's side through this ordeal. I was there on multiple occasions. We had somebody from my staff that was there virtually every single day. We love Greg. We love him for the person that he is, for the competitor that he is, and the battler that he is, and can only wish him continued progress as he goes through an incredibly difficult time.
Muse, I wanted to play number 2, if we could, please. Please go to that.
Any player that is part of this program, I am going to be involved in making sure that they receive the best care, the best support, and I'm part of that. You can question me as a football coach. You can question me in terms of the things that we do on the field, but off the field, as a parent, as a husband, as somebody that is actively involved in every community that I've been involved with, this is where the line is drawn with me. And that comment struck a nerve with me. It hit my heart because that's not why I'm in this business. I've been in it for our players, will always be in it for our players, and it rattled me that somebody could possibly be so factually incorrect in stating that I was not part of Greg Brooks Jr.'s care and support.
So you've heard both sides, and I don't know that part of it has any bearing on the allegations of negligence and any potential improprieties that happened medically for Greg Brooks. What Greg Brooks Sr. says is that he has not heard from anyone since October of 2023. I mean, that's 16 months. It would be pretty easy to find a phone record, a text message, an in-person visit, something like that, over 16 months. So maybe it's semantics. If you're arguing part of the care, someone from the staff, whatever. But Greg Brooks Sr. said he hasn't heard from anybody in 16 months. Well, if that's the case, that would be pretty easy to disprove with text messages, call records, any of that sort of stuff. But I don't want to get bogged down because I don't even think that's necessarily the overriding point. I wanted to play it because people have asked me to address it. And y'all know, you listen to or watch this show, I'm always going to give you an opinion. Like you don't come here to have me sit on the fence. And my opinion is that LSU needs to do right by Greg Brooks and Greg Brooks' family to make sure he has every resource available to him for the rest of his life so he can be the best version of himself he can be, whatever that is. That is my opinion, and I will not waver on that. Literally everything else, the legality, the issues of negligence, the conversations that did or didn't happen with Brooks Kelly, I know as much as you know, and so until we have something that is definitive, then why am I more entitled to comment on something than anyone else? So I will wait and see how this plays out, be it in court or elsewhere, until we have more to go on. Because as I mentioned, we know what the lawsuit says, and I have also been privy to some private conversations that would suggest a contradiction. But I don't know. I don't know the truth. So I'll wait, like we all will, and see. But I hope, from a humanity standpoint, that what Brian Kelly is saying is true. that he and LSU staff members have been involved in Greg Brooks' recovery. And I hope that continues. And if it hasn't to this point, it needs to start. Because that's the thing that regardless of where you fall on any of this conversation, the one thing that literally it's where we say it's the humanness, the humanity of this, which is this is a young man who is a major college football player, who is headed toward a pro career, who was diagnosed with a brain tumor, had surgery, almost died in the process of that operation, reportedly had multiple seizures throughout that operation, and now his life is forever changed. And LSU needs to do right by Greg Brooks and his family to make sure he has the resources he needs to be the best version of himself for the rest of his life, whatever that looks like. That I will not budge off of.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.